Hey guys, how's it going? Just a copy. How's everybody doing? Let's see, where did I leave off last night? I think. Hi everybody. Hey Contour, how's it going? Hey Kim, how's it going? I hope you got all the emails. Hey Contour, good to see you. Hey Stussy, how's it going? Everybody doing good on a Friday night? We got some new books coming out in October. Oh yeah, I had a piece of paper on this. Let's see if I can find it. I wonder if this is still correct. I thought this was cool. Let's see, we got 1, 2, 3. So if we start, let me see back here at the heart one. This one we had. This is cool. I don't know where I'd put it. Maybe in my diagnosis code book. I wonder if there's one over there. Let's see. I got that part of the heart just covered up with notes. But we might have some heart around here, but not what I'm looking for. Maybe Appendix L, but maybe this. There's no other circulatory system. That's all spine. Yeah, neuro. Maybe our Appendix L. Just trying to find somewhere I could put this info that might be helpful. That looks cool, but I do have to see if it's still current, if the CPT codes are still current. Oh yeah, oh yeah, this is it. This is where I need to be. Let's see. All right. Oh my. Right intercostal, somewhere in here. I don't know where that is yet. Let's see. It's going to be up close. Intercostal, right there. Intercostal. So it's the yep. The right intercostal might be associated with CPT code 36218, which could be really cool. No, 125. Of course, I wrote the wrong number. Sorry, I'll get this to focus. If you do make a mistake, you can use your whiteout to correct your own handwritten notes. You just can't white out any of their writing in the book. And then if I have left intercostal, and that is this bronchus, and in fact, that's going to be written on the wrong line. I need it down here on the second line. Sorry, this is confusing with all these things going around. And loopity loop loop, I need this intercostal area. This one is going to be 36215. And then this one over here is going to be 36215. I don't know how handy that would be in the CPT exam to know each one of the CPT codes associated with all these branches, but I found some information on some of that. I already had some. I had figured out a couple of them on my own. But I found a coding anatomy book that's got some information in it. It's from 2019. I don't know if it's still 100% accurate. So ascending aorta, and I think I already had it right there, abdominal aorta, 362-100, They're calling it thoracic aorta. 36215. Brachial cephalic. Brachial cephalic. Right there. Yep. That one. (36215) also. So that's cool. (36215). I'm just piddling around. I'm on the CPT book. I'm on the 2022 CPT book, and I am on page 963. If you have a question about Appendix L, it'll only be one question. This probably is far advanced and probably nothing that you would see on the CPC exam. It's kind of cool, though, to know all the CPT codes that are related to each branch. What you would need to know for the CPC exam is they're going to give you a scenario, kind of like this one right here, that says, we're going to stick a catheter in, and you need to tell me if we ended in the third order in the right middle cerebrum artery, where would we be? What track would we go throughout all the arteries, right, left, and that kind of thing? So all you have to do is figure out first, am I doing an artery or a vein? Arteries are the red, 2 pages, with part of a column up here, and then veins are right here. So no matter what they say, they're going to tell you what column you're in. So if you're in the third or beyond the third, you just start here, and whatever they say, like right, middle, cephalic, you just do a word search through all the red boxes underneath the third order until you find it. Like this one, for example, we found right middle cerebral. So the track to get here from beginning artery to the very end where we ended, we just go backwards. I know there's a lot of shine here. Let me close the curtains. There we go. Because the sun's still up here. So you just do a word search, find it, and then you go backwards. So this little box right here goes with this box. And because they have that line drawn to it, you know it goes to this artery. So this artery goes to all these arteries. This artery goes only to these arteries. So you just follow your lines back till you find the very first or entrance that you entered in. You would enter in the thoracic and then go here, go here, go here, go here is the track. And that's what this picture is showing you, is if you go in through the abdominal or the thoracic aorta, it would go loopy-looping around to whatever it is. What I'm just adding here are some CPT codes that are associated with these different routes into the body, just because it's cool. Not that I think that y'all would need it for the CPC exam. I'm just kind of waiting for people to show up and get ready for some questions. Hey, Go-Kart. Hey, Red. Hey, Stussy. I said, yep. And Littlefoot. Hey, Littlefoot. I finally get to join in a live. Yay. That's awesome. Glad you're here. I'm doing good, Go-Kart. My kids are spending the night over at Vinny's house, so one of James's friends. So it's super quiet and lonely here without them. Java Queen. How's it going? I'm doing great. Hey, Sanchez. How's it going? Littlefoot, same. I hope all is well with your studying journey. Yay. That is that. Go, girl. DS says, what are you looking for? So this is just another version of these arteries and vein paths, but instead of drawing them out in word columns, they drew them out in body parts. And I'm just piddling around and seeing if I can figure out which CPT codes are for each one of the branches and each one of the descriptions. It'd just be cool to have it. Not that you need it for the CPC exam. That's all. I'm just playing around. All right. And thank y'all for the share. That's awesome. And the taps. Does anybody know where she's at in the book? Good, I did say it. Hey, Kimberly, good to see you. Top of the arm towards the neck. Yep, brachiocephalic. Very good. Do they usually ask questions for Appendix L on the COC exam? They can. Instead of one question for the CPC exam, they might ask two. So if you're doing COC, it's always neat to work in this. But still, you don't need the branches. You need those two sheets in the front. You just first find out if you're artery or vein, and then the question will ask or let you know they're in the third branch or second branch or something, and you just do a word search for that word. Not hard. It seems very confusing, but it's not bad. I'm just playing around and messing up this one. Right internal carotid. That should be this one, right? Yeah, this one. This one. Is that the right internal carotid? Let's see. Once it branches off right here. Yep, we've got right and left common carotid. All right. So this one would be 36217. And then the left internal carotid is going to be 36216. I do have two things at the top up here that are kind of cool. If you do any of these catheterizations, if you add fluoroscope, you're going to add a 77001. And then if you're going to add ultrasound guidance, you're going to add a 76937, which is handy dandy to know. Checking out this. Your videos helped me understand E&M coding so much more and helped me pass my CPEDC exam. That is so awesome, CC Cook. I've got all those practice questions from AAPC. I've been trying to go through them and all and see what I can pull from the specialty courses and see what I can post to contribute to that E&M knowledge. Is crazy. You know, I refused to learn it just for my CPC. It was just too much. But since I've been tutoring, I've had to force myself to learn so I could teach it. And I got it now, of course, but man, it is crazy. And plus it's a lot to learn, including all of your integumentary and cardiology and diagnosis codes and OB and delivery. Just, it's a lot to learn at one time. And if you're not working in the codes, it's even harder. And I work in category 2 codes, which for my job for auditing, so we don't do a lot of regular CPT codes. That is so nice to hear, CC, that I helped you in some small way. Hey, Salty. Maybe you're taking your test in October and you're really nervous, Java. I gotcha. Yes, since tutoring session, I'm doing way better on my practice test. That's good, Littlefoot. I'm hoping that I helped a little bit. That's awesome. Is the test mostly coding? Actually, no, the test is not coding at all. The exam is already coded for you. You're not indexing, you're not coding anything. All you're doing is figuring out which answer is correct, which I teach you some techniques on how to find the correct answer out of the 4 multiple choice answers in a quick, efficient manner, for sure, without hopefully having to read the question, because a lot of the answers are at the codes, because you've got a lot of do's and do nots and parentheticals that tell you can't combine certain codes with certain ones. So we can tell a lot of the answers are either coding irregularities or just things that are out of sorts that you wouldn't code to begin with. Java's been wanting to ask me a question, but I have so many I don't know where to start. We'll start with anything. The front of the book is E&M and anesthesia. If there's anything in those, or just keep going down the road, integumentary all the way down. Lisa Marie, hey, how's it going? Come on. There you go. The topic today is, I've tried to find a bunch of blood pressure ones in between tutoring and work and the kids and everything. I didn't find as many practice questions as I could, but I found some really cool scenarios where I list out, okay, for hypertension or for chronic hypertension or for this kind of hypertension, you're going to code this and this in this order. So I got some things that y'all can make notes on for sure. And then I've got some more practice questions for hypertension, OB and hypertension, cancer, diagnosis codes, radiology, CPT, E&M questions, some anatomy questions, some integumentary practice questions. It's a hodgepodge of stuff. But it's all really cool and good. Something, every time I saw a question, I liked it. Yep, Integumentary medicine section. She was hiding underneath the kitchen sink the last I saw her. One of our cats is hiding. We had company come over when always the boys bring over a new person or something. She goes to hiding. I found a new allergy injection practice question that I'm excited to do because we don't have very many of those. 4,000, 40,000 section, E&M, hypertension. So I've got quite a few. But what I'm doing is I'm going to be showing you some practice exam questions and showing you how I would attack those questions if I was doing them for a CPC exam or any kind of medical coding exam so that you can find the answer the most efficient way possible and teach you a little anatomy and guidelines along the way in a relatable way so that you can actually understand it a little bit instead of being told just go look at the guidelines or something. If y'all have not been able to catch a bunch of lives, y'all know they're reposted onto YouTube. So they're there if you need it. Everything's under Medical Coding by Jen. It's short for Jennifer. Don't forget to join our Discord group. It is super handy dandy. I was in there posting a ton of stuff today. Practice exam questions in our CPC room. I have a COC room, CPMA, CRC, CCS practice rooms, all kinds of practice rooms. Today I was doing a bunch of stuff in anatomy. I was posting a bunch of stuff in CCS, CPT book prep. I think I posted something in there. And CPT book resources. Yes, that's what I did. Was a surgical question. Yep. Just anywhere I can find and put some things to help out. If you've got a lot of questions, that's a really good resource to go to because I'm only one person and I've got 12,000 followers here on TikTok. So Discord has 24-hour people in there all the time that try to help out and answer a lot of questions. But I am around if you need me. And of course, everything is at medicalcodingbyjen.com. I've got a tab there that says social media. Just click that and you can go to any one of the YouTube pages, Instagram, medicalcodingbyjen.com. And you can find the social media tab and find our Facebook group, our TikToks, our YouTube, and our Discord group to join. And if you don't know where to start in prepping your CPT books and all that stuff to make them look like what I've got going on, go to members only. And for free, you can go to the CPT book prep page. And that page has a ton of resources. Just click on the picture. It'll tell you what I'm doing, why I'm doing it. Plus, it has some guideline resources way down at the bottom. ICD10 book prep help. All that stuff is free. And plus, it's posted again for free on the Discord group too. Just the only thing about the Discord group is please, if we have posted practice exam questions, like in any of these rooms or anywhere, keep them in our study group. Don't pull them from here and resell them or share them openly over the internet because these are everybody's courses and study questions, and people wrote these questions, not me, that copyright all this stuff. So we don't want to get in trouble, but we can absolutely share them as a study group, consolidated group in our study sessions. Absolutely, we can. We just don't want to go posting all this stuff openly over the internet. And if you need a grant, you need help with purchasing any of my notes or tutoring one-on-one, be sure and let me know instead of asking for them free from other students. Just ask me. And any other kind of work. Oh, I've got a workshop coming up on August 14th. It's Sunday at 2 p.m. It's 3 hours of nothing but practice questions over and over and over again without talk and conversation from me. I will just show you 50 to 70 practice questions, and we will go from there. And we'll do 3 hours on August the 14th. Starts at 2 p.m. Arizona time zone and ends at 5 p.m. Well, I always go over, sometimes 3.5 or 4 hours, but that one you can book at my website at medicalcodingbyjen.com under booking, and it's $10 if you want to join in on that one. And even if you can't attend on that day, you got to work. If you do pre-purchase, you get copies to the Zoom link and password where you can watch the replays all you want. So those are super handy dandy because you don't get to hear my kids or me yelling at my mom or, answering her questions or talking about the cats too much. It's just a bunch of questions. I keep it more professional. Since y'all are paying for my time a little bit. Other than that, I like to teach for free and show y'all how to prep your books for free. I do that Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays for 2 hours each time here on TikTok. So here's just the first question I had prepped for tonight is a little anatomy question. Can anybody figure out which of these conditions would most likely compromise your renal system by decreasing your urine production? Anyone got an idea? While I check on this chat. Sorry, Marianne. I was back on Appendix L, just playing around. I'm adding some codes to those branches, some CPT codes, but I do still have to audit them to see if it's correct. I found a document online in a book that was published in 2019 that had some CPT codes attached to those branches in Appendix L. I want to attach them, and then because I've already done those notes for this year, before I copy them over into 2023 year, I will audit those CPT codes to make sure they haven't changed or anything. And if they have, that's cool. It's just kind of interesting to have the CPT codes associated with the branches. I don't think you'll be asked any kind of question back there that you'll need those CPT codes on there. I just think it's cool to have them all listed. So don't worry about the intro. You aren't missing anything important yet. Coffee, I am so worried about running out of time when not knowing the answers. Yeah, hopefully you've got AAPC's practice questions, just a few of them, even if you only have A, B, or C, or just D, E, and F, whichever ones you've got. You are in there, you are practicing. It has a timer. You don't have to use it. You can just answer one question and go all the way down to the bottom and hit grade. You can do those multiple times. Don't save them and do them all at one time. You don't need to save yourself 2 hours to do it. You should be practicing those in any free moment you have, and then just hitting grade and seeing if you got even one correct, if you just do one question. And do those over and over again and see if you can't get your speed up. You need to be making notes in your CPT book with the answers in those scenarios written in your book. Super handy dandy to have those as reference. Also looking for AKA terms that the questions are calling a certain procedure or something that it may be using in that procedure where it has a proper name to it. Like a portacath We know that one is always our 61 cardiology CPT code. It ends in those two numbers, so that you can eventually memorize some little things like that and be able to get your answers a lot quicker, especially when the answers, I have so many codes. Yeah, well, you look for associations first. Look for things that, because AAPC has a habit of giving you two answers that are garbage and then two answers that are so similar. There's just one little thing different about them that's usually clues you in to where you can usually have yourself down to a 50-50 shot right out of the gate just by looking at the answers a lot of times. Thanks, Lava Queen. I do one-on-one tutoring, Michelle Lee. It is at the medicalcodingbyjen.com under booking. But, it's a lot like these tutoring sessions right now that we do. Instead of talking to me and y'all are just typing out what your questions are and stuff like that. But it's a lot like this. Thanks, Red, for answering. She failed twice. Yeah, you really do. If you've already got your CPT book prepped and you've already done the work and done a course and you really want to pass, let's try to get you done before December 31st, because the books are going to be totally different for 2023, and we're going to need to update those. We're going to need to get the 2023 books. Last year, and if you're taking it this year, you could still have your 2021 books and you'd be okay. There wasn't a lot of changes in any of the books, and you could test for 2022 with the 2021 books. But I don't think I'm going to recommend that for next year. It looks like every single one of the books is going to have thousands of changes, and that's going to be too much to update manually. So, Sarah. Yep. Thanks, Red. I actually do not recommend any medical coding course. I recommend just passing your certification exam through AAPC is the easiest one, because you can get 2 tries at one cost, and I can show you what you needed to know to pass the exam. From the exam point of view, you have a lifetime to learn how to code, and it will take a lifetime to learn how to code. And most people that take the course are not happy with they come out of it more confused than they went into it, and don't know the first thing about how to pass the exam right out of the gate after a course. So it's less stressful to do it as self-study, I think. I do group tutorings on Sundays, and those only cost $10, and you can join in on the Zoom. Everybody's saying C, and C is not it, guys. 10-year history of diabetes does cause renal disease. Decreasing urine, it usually causes the kidneys to not produce as much, but not the one that they're wanting. And that's the rough thing about a lot of their anatomy questions. 2 answers are correct, which is very frustrating. But one of them's more correct than the other one. I can't never do these types of questions, because as an auditor, I see that they are both correct, and I can't choose one or the other over the other one. I even had trouble in elementary school doing this when they wanted you to pick the best answer. I've never been able to do those kind of questions. You're correct, but it's not the answer that they want. Having a recent heart attack is probably not it, right? Elevated white count is probably not it, right? Those things are your throwaways. It's either 10-year history of diabetes or a blood pressure that is super low, like your septic, is what I see. But I'm clinical. Y'all might not know that, or be expected to know that. It would be hard if you've never worked on the hospital floor or something like that for 12 hours. The first thing that happens is if your circulatory system goes down, then, your renal goes down along with it. So blood pressure is your answer right there. Your kidneys will start shutting down. So you want to make sure you keep a good blood pressure so that your kidneys don't shut down and kill you. Which one will kill you faster? Long term, yes, that's rough on kidneys, but acutely, this can kill you and shut down your kidneys and kill you faster. So hopefully that makes sense. And there's some rationale if you want the goobity gop that AAPC says. Miranda is doing her prerequisites for AAPC now. Didn't even know they had prerequisites. You can do all of this without a course of any sort. They are all online in Zoom, even though I know my website sends out the address now or something attached to the thing, but that's, you don't have to drive over and show up. Everything's done on Zoom. I work from home since 2013, and I'm comfortable with Zoom, and we use it all the time for work and stuff. So, we do everything Zoom from the comfort of your home or the local Starbucks, whatever. You should take 2 minutes per question. So 120 seconds is fast. It's really, really fast. That will save you some time because you're going to need more time at the end for the last 10 questions, which are cases that will have more writing in them. So you technically can do 2 minutes, 40 seconds per question if you just do it across the board every single question. I always recommend, red's been around long enough, 120 seconds. How to start with CPT for beginners is you start with the book. You need to go through the entire book and do the steps that are listed on that page on my website that says CPT Book Prep. Start with number 1, go through the entire book and do each step. That will get you familiarized with the code numbers and get you familiarized with things that are going to come up with these questions that you're going to need to look for before you answer the questions. Do I have any do nots? Do I have any do's? Do I have any parentheticals? Does this include radiology or not? Is this an open procedure or closed procedure? If you go through those steps, you will touch every single CPT code in this book, and that's what you want to do before you take your test. So it's the most important thing you need to work up and worry about is your CPT. You only have 5 ICD10 questions. Then you've got some compliance questions and other things that are just limited. 5 anatomy questions, but what you do have more over anything else is a lot of CPT code questions. I do these lives weekly, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, each evening, and then I repost and pull them off of TikTok if TikTok saves them. Every once in a while, they don't save them. And I post them up on YouTube so you can watch them in your spare time. Yay. Hey, Mean, how's it going? Hey, Cindy. I'm sorry about fading in and out. Look at Mean. blood pressure is a causal relation with renal. Is it okay that I write blood pressure compromised renal function in my book? Of course. Write all you want in these books. Write more than you want in these books. Write everything and anything you can in these books. If you go through a CPT code descriptor and you don't know every single definition to every single word in that descriptor, like this one, for instance, 10160. If you don't know what an aspiration is, then you need to write the definition there. If you don't know what an abscess is, a hematoma, or even what a bulla is, if you don't know what that is, Google it and write the definition down. I got chocolate on the paper too. But anyway, a cyst, what's an AKA term for cyst? It's Serona fluid. So if every single word in every single descriptor, if you don't understand it, write on it. Just be sure to write in the white space that's available and not on the writing of the CPT code printing of the book. Other than that, you can write, Lord, I write so much stuff. Yeah, I make rainbows. I won a contest 2 months ago, too, from AAPC, and still waiting on them to ship me our prizes so I can give them out to you guys. So, of course, everything that I write in my books is totally legal. I would never show you something that was illegal and put your license in jeopardy or anything. Everything I show you that I've got is legit okay with the exam. You don't have to be afraid to show anybody your books. If you have my notes in them, be open and proud of what you did, because it's an undertaking. Let me tell you, it's a lot of work, but it's so worth it, and it's so much fun. And it makes the exam a lot easier. I think it's fun, but I'm an auditor. I'm weird. All right, so what I see here for our next question, when I look at the diagnosis codes, so I'm switching books over here, is I know C, any codes that start with a C is cancer. So if we were doing a legitimate cancer patient, it would start out with a C. They would have to have already been diagnosed with cancer, or a pathology report comes back saying it is cancer. One of the guidelines is if you do a biopsy today, you're not coding cancer today unless your doctor has dual license and is also a pathologist and can look during surgery and say, yep, that's cancer. Otherwise, you just diagnose them with their symptoms or whatever. You don't use cancer unless you have a pathology report back. So I see coding similarities is another thing that I like to look up. I have 2 answers that start out with the same diagnosis code. So I know, knowing how AAPC acts, most likely it's going to be a difference between B and C. The only difference is I have an added diagnosis code. Would I have 3 diagnosis codes, or would I have 2 diagnosis codes? Now, if the scenario is truly patient has cancer, or I'm not in a Z08 area at all, then I might have to look somewhere else. But in general, a lot of their questions are simply this. They want to know if we know if this scenario is going to have 3 diagnosis codes or 2. And that's all there is. And we're going to check out this question. You guys see what you think about this one. I picked this one out because usually it's always right upper quadrant, and I loved how this one said something different. So I thought it was neat. Jessica, the blood pressure question. She wants to look at that again real quick. Hold on. Yep, I got crap written all over it. Let me get my stuff off so you can see it better. So which condition is most likely to experience renal compromise? And yeah, 10 years of diabetes is, but in the acute phase, a super low blood pressure is going to shut all your systems down. Okay, back to this one. Does this one have 3 diagnosis codes or 2 for today? Patient comes in for a follow-up. She's had carcinoma of the breast. She's ER positive. She's had a bilateral mastectomy. Her mammogram most recent was cool. No issues. She's told to follow up in 6 months. How would you code this? Lisa, case studies, probably, don't be afraid of them. I have a room just for case studies. I got to put the answer down for one right now. Y'all have worked on probably the last 7 or 8 days. I got to go put the answer in and put a new one in. But we've got practice ones. It just depends. I always do what I feel like doing that day. If I just can't take one more CPT code or ICD10 code on a particular day, I'm just not in the mood of it, and I can't get focused to do it, then I go look up some anatomy, and then I color in some anatomy terms. I'll go to the very beginning of each CPT book chapter and put functions down by every bone or every body part or organ part of every picture in that CPT book. And those are my color days. So I just Google heart functions, and then it tells me what the right chamber does and what the left chamber does. And I just fill in what the pictures say on the anatomy. And those are easier days. Some days when I'm super energetic and happy to do cases and got plenty of time and no kids around, then heck yeah, I dive right into them. Don't put too much stress on yourself. Do what you can as you can. And I'll help out with the rest. The topic on the 14th is always E&M. I always do some on E&M. What else are we doing, guys? I think we're doing, let me see, where's my pictures? What else am I doing? Musculoskeletal, right? What else am I doing? Most of the girls will know. I can't remember what I wrote down off the top of my head right now. I know it's in the email that I sent out. Although I forgot to put the date and time. I thought the email would generate that already and put that in there. Of course it didn't. Let's see. Where's my Wix? The name of the website. Go to the calendar. Am I doing cardiology? I hate to say it if I didn't put it down. Doing too many subjects, number one. I really shouldn't have done so many, but everybody was really wanting me to do a bunch. Let me see, come on. I don't know. You'll have to go to the website. It'll say on there what it's covering, because I can't remember off the top of my head. I posted it yesterday, and everybody that's on my website got an email saying what the topic is. All right. I think you would code the 3 encounters. I'm going with B. Some people are going with C. Hey, PJ. How's it going? What did Mean say? What did she say? The answer is, she said C. It's very like them to usually just pick if you have an option between 3 codes and 2 codes, most likely the answer is the 2 codes. But the reason why I picked this one is not only because it's got the outer upper quadrant, but it also has a answer that is very unlike AAPC, and this one actually does have all 3 diagnosis codes with it. So they are saying we've got our Z08 I think I'm going over like 4 different categories on the 14th thing. So we've got an encounter for the follow-up. That is our Z08, our Z85. Sorry, I don't remember these ones off the top of my head. Personal history of her malignancy, because she's had carcinoma, so personal history. And then her Z90. We did need to diagnose. It's because of her absence of her organ, which is her mastectomy. So she has an absence of that. Quite fancy for AAPC. Normally they don't do that many diagnosis codes, so I just thought it was an interesting question and a rare one for them. PJ's asking somebody, when are they taking their exam? There's quite a few people taking them really soon in August. I took mine in 2019. Means looking for a location, but they're all full. That you're going to find that from here on out. A lot of people wait till the end of the year. You may have to travel to find an in-person one. So you can travel to different states. It's okay. Don't worry about that. So they're just going to get really full. Who's taking theirs tomorrow? Jessica, are you taking yours tomorrow? Java's taking hers in October. All right, let's see what we can do about this one right here. So we've got, come on, focus. Where are you? Okay. We've got, out of these, which 2 are we going to keep and which 2 are we going to throw away? If you're looking for similarities, which 2 answers are the closest? There you go, Mean. So what we're going to do is, before we look at our question, you have to practice your CPC exam questions just like this. Don't read the question from the beginning to end, and then and all the practice exam questions, and then go look up every single CPT code. You're not going to have that kind of time during the exam. You really need to practice like I teach you how to do the questions. So find a way to cover up the question, skip it, move down to straight the answers and go straight to them. Pick out 2 codes that you think will be the ones that you need to go look up and go see what those CPT code differences are. Our 61 is 1 to 4, and our 62 is 5 to 10. That's the only difference, is the number of films were done, right? So sources. So we just need to pick that out of the question. You don't need to know the patient's age, who they are, what diagnosis code they have. You don't need to read none of their history. All that stuff in there is just there to slow you down. You only need to know how many sources. Am I doing 1 to 4 sources? Or am I doing 5 to 10 sources? That's all you need to know for these. If you had my notes, you'd know that. But anyway, this is probably prostate and vaginal, something around those lines. But let's see what's going on with this question. Raise this up some. So how many sources? Meaning body cavities. How many body cavities are we going into? That's all I'm looking for is body cavities. Those are the same thing, so don't count those as like 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just highlighting anything that's a cavity that we would go into. B with the 26 modifier. Correct. And they all have the 26 modifier, so you don't have to worry about that particular answer on that question. I wish they wouldn't put the rationale in here about indexing, because the whole CPC exam, you can't index. You just have to go from code to code to code. I don't recommend tabbing your books. They just get in your way. You're not indexing anything, so you don't need to know what alphabet is where or anything like that. You just need to get to the particular codes quickly. And usually those tabs just end up in the way and crumpled up for sure. E&M. We know we're in the ER with these codes. We know we have a slightly ER visit. A level 2 would be I sprained my ankle, those kind of things. 3 or 4 might be my diabetes is out of control or my blood pressure's high. I've got a headache. I got weakness, something like that. Circling the drain is our 5. That means that we're doing CPR or you're having a heart attack. We've got major stuff going on if you're number 5. So those are the things that I think of when I'm looking at the E&M codes. I do not want to do the process of elimination in E&M. I kind of want to know every little code and see where they're at. That's why practicing E&M and knowing exactly where you're at, because I could look at the 82s and I knew I was in the ER, and these are all under the same header. I don't need to separate anything, and they're just different levels of the same visit. If you don't know that kind of stuff just by looking at the numbers of E&M, at least from regular office visits to new patients, to wellness exams, to ER visits, to observation, and to your inpatient codes. At least know all of those by sight. I know a 99291 is critical care. I know a 99222 is inpatient hospital. That kind of stuff is super handy dandy. 99282, we're in the ER. Just at least those will save you some time, because you're going to have to look up all the codes. You need to know where you're at. Anything with a 34, 32, we're in observation. The last 2 digits I'm talking about. Super handy to know right out of the bag. I don't like y'all memorizing anything. I like more notes in the book so that you don't have to memorize anything, but those first few E&Ms will save your life if you do know those. And we might end up with 16 questions on that exam that are E&M related, because you've got 6 that are E&M guaranteed to be there, and then your 10 cases at the end might be E&M related. Probably not all of them, but a good portion of them will be, and that's a lot of your exam, and it's worth the time to know those. Anyway, let's scooch you down and see how sick this patient is. So we've got a car accident. Car accident's pretty crazy, right? We probably would get rid of our regular sprained ankle kind of person, right? So we've got a comp history, a comp exam, and the MDM is high. Did it qualify for that? Internal injuries? Yes, it did. Sometimes docs will say that I've got a kid who's been losing weight. They went to their PCP and their blood sugar was 500. Well, they're a new onset of insulin-dependent diabetes. They'll send them to the ER for direct admit, and they'll try to diagnose them with high comp. And, it's really not that bad. You got to verify that you really are super bad if you're going to do your 05 or your 85. But that I don't have a problem with it with this one. We got internal injuries and a car wreck. That does seem like an 85 to me. What do you guys think? They're going to go up to the ER. They're going to have immediate surgery. Yeah. There you go. You got to mostly get them stable. You got to get their airway, their respirations, and keep them from crashing just so they can get up to the OR. Make sure that if they're bleeding internally, we got to have bags and bags of blood hanging. Cross and match has got to get done fast as it can. We've got another one with the C cancer code and then a bunch of Z's. So again, we have the Z08 thing for follow-up. We can remember that that was the follow-up. They're here for a follow-up. It's probably a difference between the A and D again. And we just need to know, can we diagnose them with cancer, or is it history of? That's probably what they're asking us. So let's see what our question is. So we do have our follow-up visit, and we know that's our Z08, so we can get rid of B and C. And you guys tell me if we're diagnosing them with cancer today or history of. Anybody see any current diagnosis of cancer? We got mama has cancer. Last colonoscopy was good. And patient with colon cancer arrives for a follow-up. History of, because the colon cancer screening was unremarkable. Good job, Java Queen. That is awesome. So, yep, A is your answer for that one, which is, again, unusual to have 1, 2, 3, 4 for the CPC exam. That's crazy. Usually it's the smaller number for sure. So these are your weird outlier questions. But that's a much easier way to tackle those questions, is to just concentrate on the first similarities and then find out what the difference is. Cancer today or history of, and then just pick the right answer. A lot easier, and you got a lot better chance at getting the answer right. This one is going to be super easy. I almost didn't put it on here, but then the next questions were over integumentary, so I thought, oh, okay, I'll put it on there. But it was super easy. I probably didn't even put the question. Where's the question? Okay, how are malignant lesions, measured? Sorry, I don't have a question, I guess. Or we'll find it somewhere else because I moved some questions around. No, you're smart too. You are too, Barbie. You just have been thrown a lot of knowledge, and it's hard to see the forest from all those trees. There's just a lot of info, and I'm just here to help you break it down into smaller digestible chunks that is more relatable to you. Yes. Centimeters, we've got our centipedes, whatever makes it associated for you. Definitely centimeters. All right. So we're going to look for similarities, and we don't worry about none of this garbage in the back. Let's think about the 13s and the 12s. What is our differences? We're going to split these two answers into those two differences so that we can at least right away remove two answers. And my college kid, I have a kid who's 30 who I always struggle with exams. I have testing anxiety. I don't perform well under pressure like that. Never have. I even did first grade twice. Was just not good at performing. But you separate me and put me one-on-one with a teacher, and I am super smart, of course. But I can't do it in a room full of people. And my college kid told me, go to the answers first. Figure out those before you even read the question. And I'm like, dude, and he's been a straight A student since birth. Never had to help him with any homework ever. And in fact, he read his own children's stories. He would grab the book from me and say, I can do it myself, because I wouldn't read it right. Oh my gosh. So he's super smart. So he actually taught me how to do this. I haven't taken my exam, and I'm doing BAT, and I still feel lost. Yeah, BAT's not very helpful. It's just highlighting what comes after the semicolon, and then boxing or bundling codes and their parent codes together. It's not real helpful. I think it's pretty expensive too, to pay for all that knowledge, and it's not really that helpful. I think a better way of doing things is finding CPT codes, because AAPC, we can tell what they're going to ask questions on because they love to find two things that are similar, right? They love similarities. So let me see if I can find an example real quick. Let's see. Where is our eyeballs? I love this eyeball one. We've got on page 504 and 505 of your CPT book, we've got these extra whatever cataracts and extra whatever cataracts. Those two CPT codes, they're both mama codes. They start out with the same CPT code descriptor, and it goes on and on and on for days. And it's word for word the same CPT code descriptor. There's only one difference on this other one, this 82, which is unusual because usually the bigger procedure is the second one, but the first procedure actually ends up being the bigger procedure because this one has the iris expansion device. All the rest of this is all the same, so is all the bottom. This one just doesn't have the expansion device, but they're both ECCEs. They're both ECCEs. This one expands. So just going through the CPT codes, finding them that start off with the two mamas, that start off with the same exact words, writing that one word difference or underlining that one word difference will save you a heck of a lot of time. You don't want to read this CPT code descriptor in the middle of your exam. It will take you forever to find what that difference is. And AAPC knows that these are going to be more challenging than anything else. If they picked these codes, this is a removal. This is an aspiration. This is an insertion. Heck, those are easy. You can tell the differences in those codes right away. That's no worries. You just got to know the first word. But these that start off with the same words and they go on for miles with the same word, that's where you need to go write up your differences are, and you need to go find all of those. Every single one that starts off with the same thing. If they're all different, don't worry about it. Assessment versus evaluation, we're not going to worry about that. One's temporary, one's cardiopulmonary. We're not going to worry about that. You know, just go find the ones that start off with the same words. And that updating will be way more beneficial than boxing and highlighting and doing stuff to codes that are already different. You're spending 40 hours highlighting things that are already there and they're already different. It won't be hard for you to tell at all because the first word's different. The ones that are the same are the worst. Those are the issues. So let's get back to this one. Our 12 and 13, that's all I'm going to go look up first and see what my differences are on these CPT codes. So 13 is under complex repair, and all I'm doing is looking for, see how these start out with, these are 12? Well, 13 starts out under this header, and that's all I'm doing is looking at the header. I'm not looking at the CPT code descriptor. I don't even need to go that far. I'm just looking for where are the 12s? They're all under intermediate. And then here, the 13s are all under complex. So I'm thinking about what is a complex? It up in the thing, it Bixby comes up. A complex repair is a more difficult repair, of course. We're doing muscle to bone. We are diving down deep into areas where intermediate might just be debridement and a layered closure of something. It could even be a simple repair with just a debridement with it, pulling out some rocks and stuff. So we just need to see how difficult these are. I don't even need to go down to the individual CPT codes yet. Yep, that's why I said it was simple. That's why I said simple with just irrigation or something like that with it. It could be. So I got, but due to the appearance that might be malignancy concern, that throws things into a whole nother light, doesn't it? When doc thinks it might be cancer, that's rough. We got to worry about that. It's not necessarily anything huge or complex, but it does bring up your risk. It definitely won't be simple. 51 is under our intermediate, and then our 31 is under complex for sure. So I see that we go sub-Q in the fat. Do I see any muscle mentioned? Do I see any bone? Do I see that they made a flap or had to do like adjacent tissue transfer or anything super complicated? They just stopped the bleeding and they only went sub-Q. It might be malignancy, but it doesn't look like they did way too much. So I'd feel comfortable getting rid of the complex ones because there's no flap or anything. So then the next thing we need to do is decide, are we a 14 or are we a 16? So our 14s are the adjacent tissue transfer, And then our 16 is surgical prep. What header are we under? What header are we under with our 16s? I'm gonna get there. 114, 114, 114. All right, our 14 are excision lesions, but it's just based off body parts. We've got trunk, arms, and legs for 14, scalps, yep. Neck, hands, feet, chin, yep, for our 14s. And then our 16s are our malignancies. So our 14s are benign. That one's going to be benign, and this one is going to be malignant. So before we get pathology back, what's our guideline? Because unless doc reads this and can say it's cancer, what do we have to code it? There's a guideline associated with that. So these are malignants is our 16s, and these are benign is our 14s. Hey, Maria. Who is the only person who can say that something is cancer? We have a guideline about that. MD can't look at it and say, that's cancer. You got to have a pathologist say it. So I got one answer. Yes, good job, Shining. Our answer is benign. We have to wait for the pathology report to come back. Now, a lot of times what we do is we hold the claim in real life, and we don't submit the claim until we get the pathology report back, and then we document the procedure correctly. So, but the CPC exam has nothing to do with real life scenarios for sure. All right, we got another one we're at the 14s and the 16s. So are we benign or are we malignant? Up. So let's check out our question real quick, and I see squamous cell carcinoma. So I know we're 16. We can get rid of that 14. Well, what I did was the guideline for benigns, those 14, is over here on page 101, and the list of items that are benign are up here, but the codes are over on a different page. Everything that's in that parentheses is super important. Pull that info out and put it over here above your 14 codes so that you have it right here beside those codes, and you don't have to turn the page. You've got it right there, the whole list. Same thing with your malignancies. They're listed right here, but the codes are in a different spot. So I pull those, write those right here so that I have them right here with my 16s. And then I eventually learned 16s mean cancer, 14s mean benign. That's my first struggle, is to find out if I'm the header or not. And many of these questions, that's your first step, is to look at that main header first. Don't go down to the CPT code descriptor first, because if you do that, you'll get yourself confused because you're not under the right header. Because the codes that they pick out are for the same size, same diameter, and same body part of whatever you're doing. But if you're not under malignancy when it's malignancy, or benign when it's not benign, you'll be in the wrong place, but picking out the right size and body part. So anyway, we definitely need to be there. So we just need to know, are we the 43? Probably, because they're similar, right? And then they want to know, do we know if we can code the 1200 with it or not? So we've got this size with this size margins. Remember, this is millimeter, even though this one is centimeter. You do have to get that into that. Sorry, Lisa Marie. So looking for similarities in this, after I looked at my headers, I see that we have two with the same answer, and the only difference is would we add the 12,000 code with it or not. So it's probably B or C, more than likely. So you just need to check out and make sure you're under 11643 is under which header? Let's see. Face, ears, eyes. Is that lids? Nose, lips. Nose and lips. We're doing the cheek. I think that's face, right? So we're under the right thing. 42. Yep, face. So we've got to 2. We know we're over a 2.3. We know we're over that at least. This is going to add 0.4 to it. 2 plus 2 of the millimeters, though, is going to put a point in front of it. So that's going to be 4. So you just add 2.3 plus 4. I mean, technically, if you wanted to know what the total was that they removed, it's 2.7. But the only thing you need to focus on is that 2, because your 2.2 only goes up to 2 cm, where your 43 does 2.1 to 3 centimeters. So we're perfect with that 3. Would we and did we do another procedure with the 1200 code? Did we do 1213, which is surgical repair of a superficial wound? Do you code an additional repair after an excision, or does the excision include the repair of what you removed? That's your question in this one. So what you think the answer is, B or C? While I get a drink. Yep, and most of the time, it's not the 2 CPT codes, it's the 1. So if you have an answer a lot of times with AAPC, whether it's a difference between 2 codes or 1, most of the time the answer is 1 code anyway. Yep. All right, here's a good question, a really good one. Gotta get on your thinking caps for this one. A surgeon indicates the lesion is uncertain neoplasm. Prior to receiving a pathology report, how is it coded then? How do you code it? Very good, Shining Woman. Yes, the repair is included. So when you get today's charts and your doctor says they removed something that was uncertain neoplasm, what are you going to code? I didn't know we were running a Nature Channel show. Is that something that they say? Would we call it benign, in situ, or unspecified? No nature shows. We can remember to get rid of nature shows. Yeah, there you go. Benign neoplasm. Yes. They've got neoplasm in the question. Match it up with what the answer is. That's the easiest. This is a cool one too. I like this one. The service cannot be coded. And that one, and that one, and that one. So we've got 14. Remember, that's benign, right? 16 is malignant. 2000 would be like gunshot wound or a mass or a lipoma. Gunshot wound, a mass. They're coded over there for the excisions and musculoskeletal, or a lipoma. They're coded over there when you do those removals. So if you can't do that in your head, that's one area where you should know at least that much too. It's a lot of memorization for tonight. Oh, I hate it. But even if you need to flip to those codes, be sure you've got some alert on the page where you don't have to read a lot of CPT code descriptors. You can look at 14 and say benign. You can read it off the page quickly. You can get to any 16 code and you know right away you're under cancer, malignancy. Even if you have to turn to the pages, you want to be able to find that quickly. The 2000 page, the very first page in that chapter, have gunshot wounds, mass, and lipoma as your very first page in the header. That way that helps. If documentation does not make clear why a cutaneous lesion found to be benign by pathology was excised as a malignant lesion by the surgeon, how would you code the service? Documentation does not make it clear why be benign by the pathologist was excised as a malignant lesion. This is one of those things like why you really want to wait until you get the pathology report before you bill something. Doc really thought he was removing a malignant lesion, and that's what he documented that day. But if you have to bill that day and you don't have the pathology report, we're just going to reiterate. The answer is going to be, it's just like the previous question, but written a little differently. Ooh, can y'all hear me? Okay, good. Somebody's just checked into her hotel, Chrissy. She's fixing to take her exam in the morning. She had to drive to a very far area to be able to sit for her exam, so I'm just replying to her. Yes, we're going to do C, guys. We're going to do benign on this one for sure. All right. Medicine. Are we way up in medicine? Oh my. We are. What are these 97153? I see we have 3 with the same answer, so I would run to that code first. See what header we're under. What the heck are these, and why are we timesing them by so much stuff? My goodness. 97153. The last answer was C, 14. Yep. So these are out of sequence. Another thing you should fix before you even think about trying to practice exam questions is to write down the page number where every single one of the codes that is out of sequence is at, because it will drive you insane to try to find them, because you're going to come because everything's supposed to be in correct order. And when they're not on this page, then they give you some god-awful range to go look from. And look how many codes that is. That's 6,000. What? No, that's 100 codes to go look through to see if you can't find those. And that's just terrible. Just awful. But if you put the page number down beside them, then you can just go run to the page number that you noted, which is 614. Then you can find all the codes that you're looking for. So we've got them all right here. So we're doing adaptive behavior treatment protocol, and this is each 15 minutes. That means you can times this code if they have each in the descriptor. So we just need to know how many 15 minutes there are, because there's two about Bixby. That gives me pause to think about. So I'm going to see how many 15 minutes are there. So we've got documented time from here to here. That is 1 whole hour. How many 15 minutes are there in 1 hour? Anybody know how many 15 minutes are in 1 hour? Yep. Ashley, you got 4. So we should be concentrating on the answers with the 4. Then it says, what did we do? What is our 5-5? 5-5 is by physician, face-to-face. One of them's modification. We did do modification, which is in the CPT code descriptor for our 55. So 55 goes with this. Right out of the gate. So A is our answer. Yep, we did both. There's your answer. Is Mean still in here? I think she is. I'm going to skip some of these because, boy, I put in way too many. I wanted to get to the blood pressure thing that I had copied down for her. Here we go. I thought these examples would come in handy. They came from AAPC, from their Knowledge Center, and I thought this would be helpful. So our header for this one, because I couldn't find a whole lot of practice exam questions, would be helpful. That this is coding hypertension, heart disease. They gave an example of a patient being discharged, and their diagnosis was exacerbated chronic diastolic congestive heart failure and secondary hypertension. How would you code it? And that diagnosis gets coded these two diagnoses in this order. You're welcome, Mean. So you can take some print screens of these. You can add them to your pages, your diagnosis code pages that start out with your I-11, but then also go write the same example at your I-50. That way you've got it in both areas. That's your first one. Then we're going to have another one down here. This next one is hypertensive chronic kidney disease. So the provider documents the hypertension with stage 3B kidney disease. They have some GFR that is 40, which is sometimes documented in those CPC exam questions, especially COC. For sure, COC. If you don't have a rate of all your GFRs written out in your hypertension section, you might be at a disadvantage. Just go on and write all the values down from 0 to 100 or whatever. Write all the answers down. We are going to be coding this one with that one. So again, we are hypertensive chronic kidney disease. We're going to have two. It's also called, aka hypertension with stage 3B kidney disease, but you might just get told this. Let's code hypertensive chronic kidney disease. And that may be all you get. So you got to know you got to code the I-12 and the N1832. So put this example near both codes. All right. Our next one is hypertensive heart and CKD. So we've got a patient with a new onset, super important. They have pedal edema, their extremities are swelling. They have bilateral lungs, crackling up a storm. They did an echo, which showed mild heart failure, super helpful. GFR is stable, and provider documents all three conditions. What would that be? Don't worry, I got them right here for you. So we're going to do our I-13 for our hypertensive heart and chronic kidney disease with heart failure, stage 1 through 4. Whew, big one right there. With our acute, yes, very good, Mean. Our acute systolic congestive heart failure, and don't forget about your CKD. And it is stage 3B. So I thought that was cool because you might just get hypertensive heart with CKD instead of getting all the fancy words. Or you might just get mild systolic heart failure. You'll need to pull hypertensive chronic and chronic kidney disease with heart failure out of your coding hat when they say very little. So that's handy dandy to go write beside each one of those codes. That way you never know whichever area you get to first, you'll have the same example at all three areas. And for coding secondary hypertension, I think there's like 5 different like primary hypertensive codes or something like that, but only 3 secondary or some variation like there. There's not as many secondary as there is primary. So first separate them up by those type of codes first, which is super handy. So patient being seen for blood pressure management and his documents this word that I'm not even going to attempt to say. You want to be sure you understand how to say it and pronounce it and see it when you read it and know what that means. So they've got a hormonal disorder, a pituitary gland that causes too much of a growth hormone with secondary hypertension. How would we code? And in what order? It's not too bad. We're going to code our hypertension secondary first due to an endocrine problem. And then we're going to do our acromegaly and our pituitary giantism is next. Good job, Mean. You know all of these. You're good. Don't forget, in hypertension, always remember to code for your tobacco use or exposure. These come up quite often in those scenarios. You've got occupational, contact, or suspected environmental issues, acute or chronic. Then you've got personal history of your nicotine dependence that can be aggravated or a contributing factor to your hypertension situation going on. So be sure to know those. What else did I have? Okay, hypertensive crisis. There is either urgent or emergent when they're talking about hypertensive crisis. So this one, we have a 60-year-old male admitted to the hospital with sudden onset of left side weakness, severe headache, slurred speech, left facial droop. Sounds like a stroke to me. Patient has chronic hypertension, not adherent. He does not take his prescription meds like he's supposed to. He's non-compliant. CT shows a basal ganglia hemorrhage, which is a stroke in the brain with a shift, and he undergoes an emergent right craniotomy. The diagnostic, my touch screen is so sensitive. The provider diagnostic statement says basal hemorrhage shift and hypertensive emergence. How would we diagnose? We've got our I61.0, which is our non-traumatic intracranial hemorrhage. We're also going to do our hypertensive code emergency, which is essentially our primary essential hypertension anyway. Good job, Bean. And then I had this scenario right after we can work on. So when I see the O's, I'm thinking, oh no, she's pregnant. So we need to see what's going on with our patient. This is a symptom, and this is just, hypertension or something. So interesting scenario. We'll be able to get rid of 2 right away, probably with the first sentence. So patient presents to OB. So we know it's obstetrics, so we can get rid of these 2 right away. We just need to go find out what our differences are from our O10 and our O 13. We can look at those headers before you have to go down to the individual tiny codes. See if we can't answer it that way first. It's a whole lot easier to do it that way than it is to go down to the individual codes. O10. It's so quiet without Twinkle here yelling at me about the time. She'll be back this weekend. She's on vacation with her family. So our O10 is pre-existing hypertension. Our O13, and that's all I'm looking at. I'm not looking at the bottom numbers in the last digits, is just the main header, which this one is gestational, pregnancy-induced hypertension. So all we have to do is find out if she had hypertension before she got pregnant or after she got pregnant. So let's just check. We see transient. Which is an AKA term for gestational. So if you haven't written that word above your O13, that's super helpful. Be sure and move any information from these questions to help you out. If they're calling it something else, but you know and you find out that the answer is the O13, then go write everything you can, especially proper names, down about the answers that make the answer right. Be sure and go look at why the answers are not the answers that are here. Go look up all the codes, see what the differences are. 2, after you figure out what the answer is. It's always helpful. It's good practice to go look up all the codes. And you'll see why they are not the correct answer too. Look at me. She's telling me. Thank you. This is another hypertensive one, but it's at the tail end here. So I don't know if we're going to add it or not. That would be my first thing to go look at. It looks like all the first are pretty much the same. We have one outlier here, which is unusual, but it's probably all the same first diagnosis and second diagnosis. I just need to know if I'm going to add this or that, or maybe a difference between the E11.6 and the E11.9. But I thought I grabbed it because it had the hypertension at the end. So let's see if we can't find a diagnosis. Post-operative diagnosis was diabetic ulcer. And that's it. Wonder, well, we're getting the diabetes and we're getting the ulcer. Do we have hypertension? Description of the procedure. Sharp mayo dressing. That's it. I don't see any. Y'all see anything that would be hypertension? Oh, there we go. There's something that says hypertension, type 2 diabetes, had it squirreled, hidden, and didn't even put it up here in the post-operative diagnoses. Hid it down here in the procedure. So are we E11.6 or E11.9? Everybody saying D, C? I'm still trying to get to the E's. This book, Lord, is so big. E11. E11. E11.6 is skin complications. 22 is other skin ulcer. Our E11.9 is diabetes without complications. There you go. It's always worth a gamble. I just looked at the 6, and then I just looked at the 9, and it was worth it to go look at them. Then you find out that, yeah, we had some skin issues for sure, and made it our C. All right. Looking for some similarities. I see B is an outlier. It looks odd. And then if I do pick A, C, and D, I've got these two that are the closest, the 15.8 and the 15.1. So it might be just a difference between those two. So let's go see. Don't know. What have we got? We've got hypertension due to hyperplasia. Ooh, what would we code here? I notice that B and C have the same answers. They're just flippy-flopped. They want to know if we know which answer goes first and which answer goes second based off guidelines. What would you code first? A lot of times it's exactly how AAPC says it. If they say hypertension first, then hypertension goes first. If they say hyperplasia second, it's usually second. But you got to know your guidelines to make sure. Everybody's saying B. I wouldn't bet against Mean and her hypertension skills. Yep, B is correct. And I would write this scenario down beside the I-15 and the I-77. Yeah, a lot easier. And you can reference your books anytime. Well, that's it. That's all the questions I had for tonight. I hope this has been helpful. I have some tutoring to do tomorrow in the morning while the boys are gone, and then they'll be back in the afternoon. So I'll be around if anybody needs me tomorrow. I think I start at 9 a.m. It's tutoring. I got 2. And other than that, y'all have a good weekend. I'll be back on Monday to do another live. 2 hours, 6:30, Arizona time zone. If I do any book prep, like I was working on that cardiology page with that L, Appendix L, I'll do it on YouTube, and I'll go live on that, and I'll announce it in the Discord and the Facebook chat rooms and let y'all know, because I've got some time tonight probably. I'm going to go chat with my mom and make some dinner, and then maybe I'll be back in about an hour to 45 minutes, and maybe I'll work on some more book prep. But if I do that, I'll announce it, and I'll go live on YouTube so y'all can see it from there, and that way it just saves directly to YouTube and I don't have to transfer it to. I like to do all the book prep there. Your exam, Danners, is on 8/19. I'm thankful for you guys. Y'all give me purpose and let me help you guys out and put your trust in me, and hopefully I'm helping y'all out more than confusing y'all. But we've had great success. But I posted 3 more people that passed today in our study group saying that they passed, and I think I get a lot better results than some of the paid courses for sure. So makes me happy. Oh, good. Y'all see me on the 14th. Perfect. Oh, yeah, we could go look up what it is right now. Let me see. Where am I at? I'll be right here. What am I doing the workshop on? We could go look it up now that I'm like here. There it is. There's what we're doing it on. E&M, musculoskeletal, respiratory. Respiratory I've never done on a workshop yet. So I wanted to make sure that's probably my main focus. People were asking for musculoskeletal. I always do E&M and then some cardiology in there too, because there's always something to add there because cardiology is so tricky sometimes. So, but my main focus is going to be respiratory, but I'm going to cover all subjects. I'll just do more questions in respiratory. But musculoskeletal, I got some really cool scenarios on the meniscus, knee, and the gunshot wounds. Some things you should know there. E&M will go over what you can't code and for peds, what you can code for adults. The differences between observation and inpatient stay. And cardiology, I'll find some tricky ones that the codes start out with the same and you don't know what the differences are by the CPT code descriptor. We'll go over some of those questions. And I hope it's a good one. The next Zoom is after your exam. You got this, shining woman. There is 1,000,000 hours, 200 videos up on YouTube, each of them at least 2 hours long. I don't know how many hours that is. There's a lot of hours up there you can listen to on the way to your exam, on the way back, while you're doing laundry and doing dishes. Your family will get tired of hearing my voice. So there's plenty of time just to listen, because sometimes it's just not even looking at the questions. I just might say something that might strike as something you needed to hear at that moment. So I hope it's all helpful, and I hope to make a difference in you guys' life, because if I can get you into a better field and working from home with your family, making more money than you have, then I'm bettering your life, and then y'all are bettering the community that you live in, and then that's bettering everybody on the planet, right? So that's my goal. They already roar. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. They are tired of hearing my voice. Oh my. I need to start talking super smooth and silky. I don't know. But I feel bad for them. Oh, all those hours. Y'all are so welcome. I'm just reading up on the chat. Whose congratulations for? Was that the lady that passed earlier? Yay. Thank you, Sandy, for the gift. That will go towards giving somebody free notes. Absolutely. Any recommendations for finding coding jobs with no experience? Of course, Optum hires you right out of the gate. From home, they'll train you and pay you for training. Optum's a really good place to start. You'll actually be redoing risk adjustment, but they'll train you all how to do that. The university in Cleveland, Ohio hires people before they pass their CPC exam. You just have to pass within 90 days if you want to stay on there. Heck, Amazon is hiring a CPC coder right now because they need medical coders for their new pharmacy prescription mail order line, CVS online, surgery centers, ambulance centers. Don't forget about helicopter, ambulance people, businesses. They need people that can code. Gosh, that's a terrible name for them. But surgery centers are a really good place. They have a high turnover, and they need people to start out and help code surgeries. Hospitals, usually it's better to get in as a ward clerk to help out with paperwork. You let them know that you are a CPC, and when a position opens up, you go for it, because they always hire in-house when a position comes open, but you need to be in the building working somewhere so that you can apply for it as soon as it opens. Tons of remote ones are fixing to be available really quick. Auditing season is about to happen with all the health plans. They have to audit every single member's health plan membership. Every single person's chart has to be audited starting in October through March. And they will be hiring tons of bodies to fill seats to either go around your local home area. You can drive to medical groups and audit their charts. They'll tell you what CPT codes to look for, what diagnostic tests to look for, and you just go hunt for them. You look for misspelling of names, date of births inverted. They used their husband's insurance and didn't use their insurance for certain diagnostic testing. But all this will start in October. It's a temporary job, but if you do a really good job at it, they'll keep you. You can either do that remotely or locally at your area, because a lot of people have EHRs. They give you access to the medical groups. You usually have to have 2 logons. You log on to one server through the health plan and then another server to get into the medical groups' medical records. But it's just an audit, just a search for medical records. And you being a coder, you can absolutely do that. You just got to be hunting, looking for records. Some things are just scanned images and then they didn't submit a claim for them. So you just grab those scanned images and upload them to the health insurance plan's EHR chart. But all that will be happening in October. There'll be a ton of flurry of new higher positions available. You just need to change your resume to match every single application that you submit. So if it says it does the CPT book without saying CPT, they're actually saying the actual written word that CPT stands for, then you put that CPT word in your resume. Whatever they say on their job application or their job advertisement is what you need to have as your keywords in your resume. So it needs to change with every single person that you apply for. Those are my best tips. And we have job resources in my study group. So if you are not on Discord and in my study group, you're missing out. Here on Tiki Talk, we've got no telling who's coming up, but this right here on my profile, I've got our Discord server number is the 6243. It's right there. But more importantly, if you go to my website right there, Medical Coding by Jen, go to the social media page, you'll have a tap link. You can just tap join now and you can go straight into that Discord group. Everything there is free. And so is the website for the CPT book prep and all my teaching, except for the Sunday workshops. All right. Advent Health hires coders without CPC. Woo, for axillary. That's awesome. That's good info. I'm going to copy that. That's one I've not been advertising. Yep, we had a ton that passed. And can you give one day where to apply as refreshers? Can you give one day? I don't know what that means. One day long with tutoring. Ooh, this about kills me, the 2 hours. The workshops really do fatigue me out because I'm in my 50s now, so I'm older. All day long, an 8-hour class. Oh my gosh, I don't know how teachers do it. Well, I used to teach my boys. You know, we had COVID hit and they were junior high. And I had to teach both of them 6th grade math. Oh my gosh, let me tell you, that like to killed me. But along with language arts and all that stuff, oh gosh, because they just assign these assignments with no lectures. And it's like, well, how are they supposed to learn all this? So that was rough. But I also have a 13-year-old who I've homeschooled since 1st grade because kindergarten was very stressful for him. My other one went to school just fine. But I did a lot of homeschooling along with auditing and medical auditing. So I think the combo really helps, but doing it all day, I don't think I have it in me no more. I think my 4-hour, 3-hour workshops are about as much as I can do, but I'm happy to do those. I was doing them twice a month. If y'all are interested in it, I can go back to twice a month. I just stopped because the boys were home all summer. So I spent time with them and did one weekend a month as working. But I can go back to 2 Sundays a month if y'all want longer ones. But I still do 3 nights a week, 2 hours. So that's 6 hours, plus all the planning I have to do ahead of time before the teachings and stuff. It's quite a few hours that I spend in the week, plus answering everybody's messages that come through on email and Messenger. And I can't even get to the ones on TikTok and Instagram between all the email accounts and Messenger and Discord and everything else. I'm going to have to hire me Twinkle. If anybody wants a job, I need a social media person that can help me answer some of these questions on all these sites. But, I was giving Twinkle the first shot of it, and then, I don't know, I may end up needing more. We'll see. But I can try. Also, ED coders, they do CCS. Is that what's going on? They do. Then you need the CCS. It's a harder exam than the CPC, although I want to take it and see if I can pass it. I'm assuming it's harder. I have no idea. I should go take it. I've joined the group. Yay. Yep, I am in my 50s. I was born in 1971. Yep, I do. It's okay. The boys are back in school. They get on the bus at 8:15 every morning. They come home at 4:15. So they're gone a big portion of the day, 5 days a week. So I got more time now, but auditing season is coming up. And, it's been slow. But come October, I'm going to be busy with my real job. And then the books come out again. Oh, gosh. And that's a whole nother year of making up all the notes again. So I'll be busier in October, but my August and September are freer for more tutoring for sure. It's just communicate. Let me know what you need. And I'm better at messaging and answering messages on the website at Medical Coding by Jen and on Discord than I am on email or Messenger a lot of times. Just it gets busy. And I'll attack, of course, Discord and then the Messenger groups and my website first before I go to email. And then sometimes at night, I've already gone through all of Discord or the website. I don't have time or I fall asleep by the time I try to go to emails. So they just seem to get neglected. So that's why I was going to get Twinkle to help me out with the emails. So I assigned her as a delegator to one of the emails, and hopefully when she gets back, we can negotiate price and she can help me out some on the emails so that I don't feel so bad about neglecting y'all. So I'm working on it. It's just busy. I tried to get one-on-one, but you're booked till September. That's okay. Book that September one and tell me as you're booking it, move it to a certain day and time. Like I said, I've got August and September that I've got more hours, so I can move it and I can work with y'all. I like to do tutoring on Tuesdays and Thursdays because those are the days I don't do lives, but I can work with anything. I don't work every single weekend tutoring, but like I'm doing this weekend and I'm going to do the 14th weekend. I'll be working that Saturday, the 13th with you guys. So I've got time I can put people in on the 13th. And anytime I tutor MK, I'm doing it on Fridays. I always do her on Fridays. So I can manually move it to where where y'all need more time. That's no problem. Definitely the 21st weekend. I won't be working that one. And I'll probably take the 28th off. But the next 2 weeks, I'm working for you guys. And then I'll take those 2 off. And then if y'all want 2 workshops in September, I can do 2 workshops in September. and work 2 weekends in September. And then the boys have fall break a week in October. So, and plus my auditing kicks up, plus the new books are here, and then the kids are out of school for 10 days in October. It's going to be a nightmare in October. So use me while you can for right now. Curious, what is the answer for the pathology case? What pathology case? Oh, the one I posted. Well, I don't know yet. I hadn't done it. I found it, and I thought it was cool because it looks like a real EHR. Let's go look. Let's see. It's this one right here. I haven't done the question yet. I hadn't done it. I saw that the book has an answer key in the back of the book somewhere, but it's a PDF, and it's a 2,000-page book. And this is like on page 600, but I just thought it was cool. So I snapped it, and then I haven't gone to this 2,000-page thing to find the answer, but I can figure it out real quick because I know we are doing, I'm good at these codes. I like these codes. So, pathology, we are gonna be, where's my favorites? Craniotomy is our 7 code. 88304. Is that what I was putting in with those? Yep. So, yep. And what are we doing? Is it cancerous or not? It's probably a 7. We did a hernia. And it's just vascular and tendinous tissue. It's crappy tissue from a hernia. So with these pathology ones, this is just looking at it with your eyeballs to see what you think of it. This is looking at it with a microscope to confirm the identity of a specimen. That's all. This one will be more like gallbladders, probably hernia. Let's see. We just have to do a word search and see if we can't find. We got some skin, which might be under that, but hernia isn't here, right? But we have skin, and we're not doing tags or debridement, right? Our tendinous tissue, skin tags, debridement, other than, is hernia underneath here? Hernia. No hernia, but resections and removals. What are y'all guys thinking? Y'all were thinking the 77762? Our section and the answers right before it were about our level 1, level 2, level 3. This was the explanation right before their scenario, was these 88, 304, 305, 307, 309s. So that's why I'm focused on this, is because that came along with the scenario. Our resections and removals are over here. Let's see, where's the skin? There's no skins. We have one that's going to be doing our tendinous skin, I'm sure. Of our craniotomies are 07. I would be thinking it was our 05. Our 05 is our crappy material. Our skin is under this one. I think it's our 05. So if I go to maybe somebody, let me check your answer. You said 02, Look at that. Hernia sac, any location. I'm thinking too far. You might be right with that O2. It's just a word search. What did you remove? I think you're right. Now, I gotta go to find that answer. I have to go into my documents, go into my drive. This is something that I saved last year. I got somewhere. Where did I put it? I put it in the classroom. Where's classroom? Classroom drive. Classroom drive. And it's supposed to be called... I got lots of Betty's notes in here she gave me. It's called Step by Step. I'm looking at the, I'm thinking of a song, Step by Step. Good Lord. There it is. This thing. And look, I ain't lying, 2,000 pages. Wherever I'm at over here, this is where I found it. I don't know. I just thought it was cool. There is an answer key, but like I said, I gotta go scrolling to go eventually find it to see what the answer is. But I bet you're right with that 802. And it's got 2,000 pages of cool crap. It's just an older version that got commuted over to a PDF. Is somebody posted somewhere openly over the net, so I grabbed it last year sometime. But yeah, it'll take me forever, and I'm hungry. I'm going to go eat. I will post the answer and let y'all know if it's correct when I eventually get down to all this. I can't figure out how to do it any faster than that. I'm not that computer literate, but it's got tons and tons of stuff that I think is sometimes helpful. I don't like the fill in the blanks. I don't think they're very helpful, but I didn't mind that one with the... Oh, yeah, it'll take me forever. I'm going to go eat, and I will be back later. I like y'all. Y'all help me out so much. Find me the right answers. Just curious about the path case. Yes. All right, Mean. I'll post it and let you know, okay? When I eventually get down here to it. I'll see y'all later. I hope this has been helpful. Good night. Let me see. How do I end this? There we go.